So dear people, we finally have spoilers again for One Piece chapter 1158. Unbelievable, guys. We finally see Shanks Shamrock as a baby, we see Blackbeard as a baby, exactly what we wanted. And an incredible battle between the strongest characters in the One Piece world has also broken out in this flashback. And the whole thing really seems to end at God Valley. So it will probably continue next week, but finally we will see God Valley. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. So One Piece, chapter 1158. I have the spoilers in front of me. I linked them for you in the video description. On Thursday we'll get the full summary, and apparently there's a lot more in it, an insider told me. Especially in the fight between Rock's Zebec and Harald, the king of Elbaf, who are actually fighting in this chapter. There we are supposed to see Conqueror's Haki on a whole different level. I'm excited. But first let's jump into it, starting with the cover story. I usually don't like talking much about that, but today, just a little bit. So, it was like this. Yamato was at a grave of a hero who once fought against Kaido and died, or rather is said to have disappeared, and on the grave it says Kozuki Moria. We know that Moria holds a grudge against Kaido. As a pirate crew he once lost against Kaido, meaning Gecko Moria. But now I'm wondering, Gecko Moria is 50 years old today. Was this maybe before his time? Or was it his dad? There's definitely a lot more behind this. I find it really crazy and strange that we didn't learn more about this back when we were still in Wano Kuni. Now let's dive into the spoilers. 40 years ago, we are exactly 40 years in the past, we see how the Gold Roger pirates arrive at Hachinosu, the pirate paradise that the Rocks pirates had made their territory. And apparently, they meet in Shaki's bar and talk about how they shouldn't fight here right now. They were planning to fight because they knew, okay, we are two crazy pirate crews and stuff. Or who knows, maybe there were other motives to fight each other as well. Could be. But what we see on Beehive now is that they decide not to fight. We know that 2 years later they clash on God Valley, but here not yet. Then I wonder, why even show up here at all? Just because of Shaki? Maybe the Roger pirates were only there because of Shaki. Who knows? But the next spoiler line is way more interesting. It actually says that Rock's Zebec fell in love with another woman. And now hold on tight. He somehow stopped being in love with Shaki. He even had those heart eyes and supposedly fell into her lap and all that stuff. Yeah, that was all. But now he's apparently got his eyes on another woman. He's in love with her. We even see him meeting her or something, and she's holding a newborn baby in her arms. And it turns out that this baby is Teach, meaning Blackbeard, the son of Zebec. So he actually fathered a child with this woman. Now I'm wondering who this woman is. We don't really see her clearly in the chapter, not her face or anything. Guys, you know me, I immediately pay attention to the nose. Because if it's true that maybe Buggy's twin brother is Blackbeard, well, Blackbeard looks more like Zebec, and maybe Buggy looks more like the mother. And if the mother has that same little round nose that Oda once drew in his early sketches for a mother figure, which he later scrapped, then it would actually fit perfectly. I just really wonder if there's more behind this. Or if it really is just like Oda always says, that mothers don't play a big role. Maybe this was only shown to tell us that Zebec met another woman, loved her, and that's how Blackbeard was born. Or maybe there's way more to it. We'll find out soon. But honestly, this scene was so cool to see. I'm checking every single detail when we actually get to see that panel. I'm so hyped. And now here's the big one. In the last chapter, Harald was given an offer by the world government, kill Rock's Zebec, and your kingdom of Elbaf will be accepted as an official member of the world government. One of the kingdoms under the protection of the world government. And Harald accepted it, guys. Many people said, no way, Harald's an honorable man, he would never do that. But I already weighed this possibility last week. Of course it makes sense for Harald to accept. From his point of view, killing one criminal to save hundreds of innocent lives is the logical move. At least that's how he thinks, that the world government will solve all the problems once Elbaf joins. And so, Harald is now fighting against Rock's Zebec. Their fight is said to be so intense, clashing with Conqueror's Haki at such an extreme level, that they both end up knocking each other out. So yes, they are truly equal in strength. Exactly what we predicted last time, when we pointed out that you could already see this coming from that one clash at Mary Jewa's. And that's exactly how it turns out. They both completely knocked each other out. But here's the crazy part. It says that their friendship is over. So with this draw, with this insanely brutal battle filled with hatred, their friendship just ends. That's pretty heavy. Because somehow Harald always felt like the only thread keeping Zebec alive as a person. Sure, he fell in love and had a son, but in my opinion, Harald always seemed like his only real friend. And now, that's gone. There are also leaks, or rather bits of info from people who already read the chapter, that say a completely new aspect of Haki appears during this fight. I'm curious, not like an entirely new fourth type, but rather that Conqueror's Haki takes on a much deeper dimension than we've ever seen before. I'm really excited to find out if that's true. One claim is that Harald actually had the upper hand, and then Zebec somehow rewound time or something like that and suddenly his arm was reattached. I don't know if that's true, but if it is, wow, that's absolutely wild. This isn't written in the spoiler text, so watching that battle unfold is going to be crazy. Anyway, let's move forward. 1 year later, 39 years ago, we see Garling Figerland, who also plays an important role at God Valley, making an appearance. And apparently he finds something there on God Valley. Something suspicious. Something that might interest Imu-sama, or rather something that Imu-sama would like. That's what Garling Figerland assumes. And the fact that the Figerland family already had such recognition with Im-sama at that time, that's insane information. The fact that he actually finds something there, what could he possibly have discovered on God Valley, guys? Huh? This is still 39 years ago. So this isn't yet the God Valley incident with the treasure chests, the 6 of them, or the devil fruits that were there. Something on the island itself seems to be important. But why? There were even rumors that it might be connected to one of the ancient weapons. Maybe Uranus was originally hidden on God Valley and only got released because of that insane battle. Who knows, guys? If it's something that caught Im-sama's attention, then it has to be something absolutely huge. But that's not all. On God Valley itself, we also see a red-haired woman holding 2 children in her arms. One of them is Shanks, and the other is Shamrock. Her face isn't shown, not revealed, but how crazy is that? We finally see Shanks as a baby, together with his twin brother, in the exact same scene where their mother is introduced on God Valley. That means they were living there. At least a year before the God Valley incident, they were already on that island. So were they living there before everything happened? I seriously wonder about that. This is wild. This chapter was truly important, exactly the kind of chapter we needed. It gave us a legendary fight, one of the greatest fights we may have ever seen in One Piece. Of course, the question is how detailed and how long it actually is. But Harald vs Zebec has to be one of the craziest matchups we've ever gotten in terms of sheer power. For real. Because remember, Zebec only lost against Garp and Roger together. It took those 2 monsters combined to beat him. That's how strong he was. And yet, Harald fought him evenly. On the same level, these kinds of Conqueror's Haki monsters are absolutely unbelievable. And guys, we got to see Blackbeard, Shanks, and Shamrock as babies. At this point, all that's missing are Mihawk and Buggy as babies. And then we'd have the full set of legendary baby reveals checked off the list. I'm seriously curious if Oda will go that far. And what about the Roger Pirates? What were they really doing on Beehive 2 years before God Valley? Why did they want to talk to the Rocks Pirates? Were they only there because of Shaki? That's still unanswered. And now, what happens with Harald? Because it looks like he failed. He's knocked out, Zebec is knocked out too, and now there's still 1 year left until God Valley, like we said. So no, Zebec doesn't just stumble into God Valley already injured or half defeated. He's got a full year to recover, no problem there. But what I really wonder is, how does he even get away? And where exactly does this fight take place? Is it on Elbaf itself? Maybe in the underworld? In some empty place where no civilians live, and they just go all out there? Or maybe it's out on the open sea. Or could it be that Harald actually went to Beehive, the pirate paradise, and fought him there? If that's the case, then that entire place must have been left in ruins. There are still so many important details I want to know. That's why we'll have to wait until Thursday for the full summary. I want to know how exactly Zebec fell in love with the woman who became Blackbeard's mother, where it happened, and why she ended up raising Blackbeard all alone. Honestly guys, one single chapter just isn't enough to explain all these things. It doesn't cover nearly enough. And remember, we're still in a flashback within a flashback. Don't forget that. This almost doesn't even feel real anymore. What we're seeing here, just the fact that we get to see Shanks as a baby with his twin brother on God Valley with their mother, while their father is basically a complete villain, scheming on God Valley and apparently finding something to immediately offer up to Im-sama to curry favor. It's just insane. And now, what's next for Harald? Because as it seems, he failed. I don't think he's going to be captured, and that's it. No. More likely he'll end up escaping somehow. But Harald is ruined. He's not part of the world government, and he's completely broken his bond with Zebec. That's over. And from here on, he might turn bitter, maybe even outright evil. Or at least he'll never be the same again. In fact, we know he eventually gets stabbed by his own people in the end. That tragic fate of Harald, how it plays out. I really wonder about that. Guys, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll see you all again. Goodbye.